Hello, greetings. The title of this video is Resource Management Advice. In this video, I shall go over some brief advice I can give about managing resources. What do you mean by resources? That's anything that's in your possession that you've stored over, which could be food, the food you have, say money, money, clothing, anything that is materialistic is a resource that's in your possession that you can use either to help yourself or help others. And how best to manage that resources. Also, resource management also involves like if you have too much of something. So say if you have a drawer and say you have over like 50 socks, and if you don't need 50 socks, you can narrowly cut them down, donate them or give them away, because there's no point of having like overabundant of resources that you're not using. I say there's no point of having abundant of resources unless you're going to utilize set resources. So for example, food resources. Say if you have a cupboard full of food, don't buy more food until the cupboard is empty. That's just a principle that I go by personally. The fridge, however, that's always needs to be refilling, but the cupboard don't. So what happens is, make sure you, when you buy food, you eat it, especially those that go expiring. You have a case that's happened to me where you buy food, you forget about it, and then it gets expired. So you end up like spending like €5 of resources to buy that food, you never eat that food, and then that food unfortunately has to be dumped. So it's best that when you eat food, the resources, it involves the time management as well. So you set resources, you buy this food, okay, and this day I'm going to cook this food, eat it. This day I'm going to set this food, eat it. That's part of one resources. Another resources is those around you. They could be a resource in a positive and negative way. Those around you can lift you up or tear you down. They could be of emotional, financial, spiritual support, which is a resource in itself, because anything that it can be used, whether it be positive or negative, I would classify that as a resource. And it's very wise not to necessarily burn bridges unless what I mean by necessarily burn bridges, same resources. You've everyone on this planet, whether they like to admit it or not, because it's very hard for people to admit this or not. The truth about us as a species, we're a social species, and we're very codependent on each other. What do I mean by that? Okay, example. I work in a job. I'm dependent on that job for, say, set resources so that I can buy set food. My work is dependent on me as a worker so that I can stack shelves and place my order, talk to customers, and so it's a relationship that is both beneficial for myself and them. And same goes anything, dude. There was a codependency. So a part of managing resources is the understanding that everything that you have has consequences. So say if you're someone who, because in my observation of this existence, you usually have two people, combination of both. You have one person who usually hoards all the resources for themselves, so they're more self-involved using the resources towards themselves, and then there are those more who are selfless who give all the resources away, and it's kind of the combination of both. Then you may have variation between both, but it's kind of find the balance as well and the wisdom. So say for someone who gives everything away from any random person you meet, that isn't necessarily a good resource unless you know yourself where that resource is going. So about resource management is also to verify where you're getting where the resources are going, because you are accountable to God of how you use the stewardship He gives you, and every resource you have is a stewardship. So your money you have stewardship over, your food, your clothing, the people who you're under. Say if you are a father to a child, you have stewardship over that child, so you take accountability for that resource. So you take about every resource, because every resource comes from God, so you take accountability for that, and it's frightening. Many people, because I was brought up, I wasn't brought up taught about time, energy, resources. I wish I did. I've already learned about it now in deeper detail the last couple of years, but it helps you navigate existence much easier when you have more of a manage on these things, have more understanding and management of these things like time, energy, and resource management. It helps a lot. for you to be more creative, and it causes less complications, there's less drama, so everything's more planned out. You even have a plan for not having said plan, so you can plan for not having the plan. My set plan of when things don't go away, I try to just to improvise the best I can. I usually try to avoid that. So yeah, resource management, just advice, just to write down on a piece of paper how you're currently using your resources. You can keep a resource management of the food you have, the clothing you have. Just write down there, inventory the food you have, the clothes you have, and what you currently have before you buy more stuff. That's my advice, because what happens is many people buy, and I'm guilty of this, where I buy stuff that I already have. So it happens. So but if you wrote it down beforehand, say with food, like there's some food you have, you already had that food, and you bought food because you forgot you already had that food. So separate items as well, because you might have a phone charger, and you bought a new phone charger even though you already had one, but you forgot that you had one and it was actually in the drawer, or it's somewhere in the power, or something like that. So it could be batteries. You have like bought some batteries and a week ago, and you forgot you bought batteries, and you bought another batteries because you weren't sure if you bought batteries, but you bought them a week ago. So that's about resource management, to write down a piece of paper what currently resources you have before you buy more resources. So it's okay to have a stockpile of resources, but not too much. But to have whatever necessary resource, and then ask yourself, is this resource a good resource to have, or is it a waste of resources? Anyway, thanks for watching this video about resource management advice.